Hello YouTube, Oregon Piper here. Just coming at you from another cold windy day in Oregon. So this is going to be a VR to Birdman5691 500 sub contest. I got a little of my black coffee going here. Birdman asked us to video from a new location that we hadn't filmed at so far. So welcome to my cozy corner of my living room. This is our little wood stove that keeps us nice and warm here in the winter time, and couldn't do without it. So I'm not smoking right now because I am indoors and we have 3 little kids, so not an option there. But if I was smoking, I'd have my Birdman pipe, which is an HIS apple that I got from him. Beautiful pipe. I've already smoked it a couple times and it's just awesome. So anyways, congratulations, Mr. Birdman, on your 500 subs. I know you're over the 500 now and well on your way to 1,000. I know you'll be there before we know it. And I just wanted to say congratulations. Thank you, sir, for all that you contribute to the YouTube community. And we're all blessed to have you. I know that we'll be looking forward to your 1,000 contest soon. So you asked us to tell a unexpected event in our life that came out of the blue without warning. And I've kind of gone over this and I've thought of a couple things, but I keep coming back to one thing because it's the biggest thing that's happened to me unexpectedly so far. And that involves the birth of my daughter, Hannah. And I know that, I'll explain. I know that's not that unusual. Thousands of children are born every day. So I'll give you a little backstory leading up to why I say that. So I have 2 boys that are older than her. Well, my wife and I have 2 boys. And at the point in our life, about five years ago, we had decided that the 2 boys were enough, and as you parents know, children can be a handful. It's a 24-hour-a-day job. And with everything going on in our lives, we had small businesses we were running, trying to carry on a full-time job. We were not at this house. We were at a different place. And we had decided and come to the conclusion that we were done having children. Just financially, the amount of time that it took raising our kids, we're very involved in our kids, and we just felt for us that we were at our limit, and we were good with 2, and we would just focus our time on them and focus our time on work, business, everything like that. And we were not in a great spot financially to look at having any more children. So and this is why I say it was the most unexpected thing that I can even imagine at that time, because we actually took semi-permanent steps to not have children anymore. And so after that, some time had gone by, and we were, like I say, we were deep in trying to get ahead on our bills, and I was focusing 20 hours a day on work and trying to get our business stable and trying to get us into a better spot in life and a more stable spot in life. And my wife came to me one day and said, I gotta talk to you. And I was like, oh great, the car's broken or there's some new bill, Well, it turned out that she said that she was pregnant and that she was about 10 to 12 weeks along. And I just, you guys can judge me, and I'm looking back on it, it was the most horrible thing to do. And it's funny now, my wife and I laugh about it now, but not a good decision back then, guys. I didn't know what to say. I was so overwhelmed, and I if I could describe to you how overwhelming at that point that news was. I mean, like I say, with everything around me, the bills and stresses of life, that was the last thing I needed to hear, was that we were expecting, which for those of you again that are parents, the financial and emotional and stress burden that comes on you with each child. Every child is special, and don't get me wrong. That's not why it was the most unexpected, overwhelming news at that point. It is not because of a child. It was what comes with it, and I didn't know what to say. I walked away. I got in the car. I didn't say anything. I got in the car and I just drove off, and it was not the thing. She took it the wrong way, and I can understand why. But I needed to go somewhere and think. It was so overwhelming at that point, and it came completely out of the blue because, like I said, we had taken some steps to, not become pregnant. Anyways, long story short, my wife has very high-risk pregnancies, and that was another reason why we had decided not to pursue having any more children. So we got through the pregnancy. The stresses of it coming down. My wife's always on bed rest during pregnancy, and then 2 other children, plus trying to run, like I say, just the trials of life as it was at the time. So got to the birth. Beautiful little girl. Just the instant she was here, I cannot describe. All that went behind me, and it was just, look at this beautiful little girl. And, just thinking and being excited for her and what was, what the future would hold. That, the stresses of life just went out the window at that point. And I was like, she's here. So, got her home, and it quickly became obvious within the first 2 months that there was some health issues. And it turned out being that she was born with a fairly complicated issue between her kidneys and her bladder. So at the age of 2 months, we were rushed into one of the largest children's hospitals in the U.S. Happens to actually be right here in Oregon. And we spent months there. Just the amount of testing alone and the process of trying to get her better and trying to get her through that issue. Like I said, I'll try to make this fast, but it came down to the point where I can't tell you how many times I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to see her again. You'd leave the room I'd have to go to work, or we'd go in for an appointment, and we find out the worst, and it just, I cannot describe to you how overwhelming that time in my life was. And to shorten this up, I quickly came to that point of, at first it was overwhelming. Now I'm in the middle of it. I love her to death, and now I'm looking at losing her. And it was just this array of emotions that you just, put your head in your lap, and you call out and you cry out and you ask, why? But we got through it. It's still a battle. She's not completely healthy. We have still a lot of testing we have to go into to make sure her kidneys and her bladder are still functioning properly. She has a lot of health issues from it. But she's a fighter. She's just the most beautiful little girl I could ever ask for, And she's like I said, she's a fighter. I know she's gonna do great things in her life. And so to bring this full circle, I look back on it, and I went from overwhelmed to the stress of her sickness. At one point I can remember that we had over $100,000 in medical bills, and our health insurance at the time did not cover all that. It did not. And we came to the point of, we were selling stuff right and left, and basically, almost lost everything we owned just to try to catch up and try to keep ahead of those bills. And so, like I say, with the stress of all that, and it was not that I didn't want her, but not wanting that situation to happen when it did. It was so overwhelming. But to come full circle, like I said, I wouldn't, looking back on it now, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to us and me in my life, because my focus was on work, my focus was on building a business, and that's not going to matter in the end. And this unexpected, out of the blue, little girl that came into my life, just, losing almost everything in the middle of that and coming out of it with her, I now take the most pride in this situation and in her. And like I said, if I had to do it again, I'd do it just like that. If it brought me another little person like her, absolutely. Because, us parents think that we're raising our children. We're not. They're raising us. And, every day when you're trying to teach and train them, it just reflects right back on you. And you have to sit down and look at yourself and what you're becoming and who you are. And it's an incredible experience to be a parent. So, most unexpected thing that ever happened in my life, for sure, was my daughter Hannah. And like I say, full circle, it brought me to the lowest point in my life. But through that lowest point in my life, it has brought me to the highest point in my life. And the joy and the love and the blessing that she has brought about is just incredible. I cannot tell you. I can't explain it on camera. I just can't tell you how much she means to me and my wife. And so I just want to say thank you, Birdman. Thanks for choosing to do VRs. I love these VRs because it helps us all learn about each other and keep our community close. Again, congratulations on your 500 subs. And keep it going, man. It's awesome. So until next time, guys, Oregon Piper here. And I'll leave you with a few clips that you can meet my daughter Hannah, who was the most unexpected thing that's ever happened to me yet in my life. So thanks, Birdman, and here's Hannah.